what's up, family? So, here in the month of July, I've been talking a lot about routine, right? Scheduling your routine, basically having a routine that serves you, the success and conquer routine, to be exact. For the past, 2 weeks probably, I've been talking about goals. All right, and speaking of goals, about a week or so ago, I asked God to help me get my house in order in the sense of how he see it supposed to be, his expectation, his standards, like operating from a kingdom standpoint, not how I was taught, what I learned, what I think, what other people say, the coach, like none of that. Like, how do you want this house to run, right? As a child of God, man of God, husband, father, right? And so days later, he gave me three things to do. First thing is to outserve your wife. All right. And then the second thing is be a man of your word. Do as you said you're gonna do. And then the third thing was be the example. Be the example by being the example. Right. So then with that, um, days leading up to this, my wife talking about all this had to be clean, all this. Look, I don't like to clean, right? But I do. I don't like to. It's just, I really pay somebody to do it, but I ain't there yet, right? So I asked her, like, so, all right, so what do you need me to do? You know what I mean? Give me a list of that. So, she dust the blinds. I'm not a fan of that because it's, you know what I mean? But so she gave me a list of things to do. So coming into my off day, I wrote me a schedule. I should have printed it out so I can show you. I wrote me a schedule, and from the time I was gonna wake up, basically the same thing that I've been teaching, right? And like I got up, I hit the ground running, right? Probably this Saturday, I'll show you guys what that schedule looks like and alive, and give you step by step where I slipped, where I made up, and also, so on and so forth, right? So needless to say, I did pretty much everything on that task from the time I woke up. I think it was about, was it 4:30 or 6, something like that, and ending like that night, right? I had it mapped out, and although some things ran past the time that that I put down on my schedule, because I didn't think it was going to take me over an hour to dust, mop, do all this stuff to the small living room, our bedroom. Um, just it was just a list of things where it took me longer than I planned. So obviously, I didn't stick to the plan minute by minute, right? Um, but like I said, everything on that task, everything on my schedule, I completed it by the end of the night, right? And I the next day, I learned how a lot of us are not successful in our everyday life. I learned that although we really want and desperate for change, we desire to change. I learned why a lot of things don't change in our lives, and that's because we don't have a schedule. We don't have a routine that includes us implementing the practices and habits that's going to help achieve our goals. So that first day, I knocked it out. I had the practices and habit in place. I obeyed my schedule for the most part, and I was able to knock everything out. The next day was the night before. I put down waking up at 4:30 a.m. Right, but I did not plan that entire day. I just did it the day before. So when I did the day before, although I didn't get to the big living room as planned, like I felt super successful. You know what I mean? Like knowing the next day I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna get back to it, which I did. But The next day, I got I got on top of it. You know what I mean? Like I had things I had to do, but I wasn't efficient with it because I didn't have a list of things that I needed to do. So I wasn't super effective with it. You know what I mean? Where by the end of the day, I didn't feel accomplished like I did the day before because I only got 2 hour. I didn't get to do everything that I planned. Not long. I didn't get to do everything as planned. So the first day, I felt super successful, although I didn't finish. But like I got a lot done, and I pretty much went according to schedule. The next day, I didn't have a schedule, so I didn't get nowhere near as half done. So I didn't feel successful. I wasn't motivated. In fact, I was kind of down on myself because I had these plans, but it didn't go as planned because I wasn't prepared for my day. So that's what a lot of us we do. We have these day to day things that we must do, but we're all over the place because we don't have a list. We say, God, I got to do this, I got to do that, but then too, we're not super effective in accomplishing whatever it is we have to do because we're all over the place. We're not really intentional about what we're doing. So when it comes down to the successful people that we may look at, like they have a schedule, they know what they're supposed to do, they know what the goal is, they implement the practices and habits to achieve those goals. But us on the other hand, where we really need change and want change, that change doesn't happen because we're not setting ourselves up in a position to where we can create change in our lives. And that has everything to do with one, setting a goal, and two, implementing practices and habits that's going to help us achieve and accomplish these goals. This week I'm going to talk about practices and habits, and implementing these practices and habits, and showing how easy it is to achieve our goals, ultimately create change in our lives. So stay tuned. This week is going down, and then Saturday, if God wills, then we're gonna go live on here on Facebook, and we're gonna dissect this thing step by step because we have to start creating change in our lives, and it starts today. So I'll see you guys in the morning. I love you guys. Stay blessed.